What is going on, everyone? When it comes to the Houston Texans, their main goal should be getting back to the postseason and having an opportunity to fight for the Lombardi Trophy. The work just got started. General Manager Nick Caserio needs to attack free agency. He needs to attack the NFL draft. Now, he's done that before. However, this time, this offseason, he is going to have all the ammo he needs. The Houston Texans could potentially have $90 million to mess around with in free agency, and they also have their first round, second round, and third round draft picks this year in case they want to make a trade. Nick Caserio has shown that he is willing to do that. He's done it his entire time as Houston Texans GM. We're going to look at some names that are going to be available in free agency that we could bring in and make this a championship roster, guys. This is now the time to spend money, bring in talent while you have CJ Stroud on that rookie deal. This is the most exciting time in a very long time it has been to be a Houston Texans fan. Welcome, everyone, to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. I'm trying to hit 10K subscribers by the end of the season, so if you are new here, I drop daily Houston Texans content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. And thank you so much for watching today's episode. Now, the first player we're going to be talking about is wide receiver Calvin Ridley from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know some Houston Texans fans might feel indifferent about this decision. He did have a case of the drops this year and some points disappeared in key moments for Jacksonville. But don't forget, guys, Calvin Ridley just came off of serving a year-long suspension for gambling. And in his first season back with Jacksonville, played a full 17 games, 76 receptions, 1,016 yards, 8 touchdowns, a respectable year back after not playing football for 365 days. With Calvin Ridley, he's a legit slot wide receiver, amazing route runner with the ball in his hands, can make people miss. When you look at his resume going back with the Atlanta Falcons, there wasn't a season where Calvin Ridley didn't have less than 7 receiving touchdowns. He is special in the middle of the field, and think how dangerous this Houston Texan offense will be with Calvin Ridley as your number 3 wide receiver and someone who could step up in case there's any injuries. Now, here's what PFF has to say about Calvin Ridley. Ridley's contract situation is a true one of one. He returned to play in 2023 after missing all of 2022 while serving a suspension for sports gambling and had stepped away from football before the 2021 campaign was over, but was a top wide receiver in 2020. There were drop issues in 2023 as Ridley returned to full speed, but he still proved capable of taking over a game while breaking off a series of explosive receptions. Equally fascinating are the condition of Ridley's trade to Jacksonville, where the pick Jacksonville will send the Atlanta Falcons escalates to a second round if two parties agree to an extension. Well, that's just talking about the compensation that Jackson will have to get Atlanta wherever Calvin Ridley goes. But this is someone who should be back to 100% now. Obviously, you would have to talk about the drops, but Calvin Ridley will be a great addition to this Houston Texans team. PFF has him contracted here at a projected 2 years, $32.5 million deal, $21.5 million guaranteed, and annually $16.25 million. That's what it would take to potentially projected make Calvin Ridley a Houston Texans. Let me know if you will get that deal done. Now, the second player we're going to be talking about is former Houston Texan Javon Clowney. Now, Clowney should be on their radar if the Houston Texans cannot bring back Jonathan Greenard, and we'll talk about Jonathan Greenard a little bit later in the week. But with Javon Clowney, betted on himself, goes to the Baltimore Ravens and has an elite season, 9.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. There was that special moment where he gets that sack and earns an extra $1 million in his bank account, and he is going absolutely crazy, man. I am so happy for Javon Clowney. I hope he goes and gets a ring this year, and he has an opportunity once again to make some money in the offseason. Remember, guys, Javon Clowney in the offseason wanted to be a Houston Texan, wanted to play for head coach D'Amico Ryans. Even our own Mark Berman said that he predicted Javon Clowney to sign with the Houston Texans. However, that didn't happen. He goes to Baltimore. Houston, do not make the same mistake. PFF. This is what they had to say about Javon Clowney. Clowney enjoyed a career year with Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald, dining up things for him, deploying simulated pressures and exotic blitzes out on various fronts. It seems Clowney will probably ride out the rest of his career on successful one-year deals that fluctuate based on his production the year prior. And he certainly earned himself a raise this season. With the Ravens in 2023, he recorded his highest pressure rate, highest pressure rush win rate, and most total pressures in a season. Shout out to the former #1 overall pick. This is what PFF has his projected contract: a 1 year, $9 million total dollars, $8 million guaranteed. Javon Clowney, I'll give you 12. Come here, make this Houston Texans defense elite, make us a championship roster. Go get yourself a ring, go get yourself the experience, and come help this Houston Texans young defensive line next year. Now, the third player we're going to be talking about is tight end Hunter Henry from the New England Patriots. Also spent some time with the Los Angeles Chargers. Hunter Henry, a veteran tight end in the NFL, 29, about to be 30 by next season. I think this is a cheap and good replacement for Dalton Schultz if him and the Houston Texans cannot agree to make a deal. I definitely want the Houston Texans and Dalton Schultz to find common ground, and we can make them a Houston Texans for years to come. But if the money is not right, I would definitely look at someone like Hunter Henry. Look at his stats this year: 42 receptions for 419 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, this is with that New England passing attack, which is just god-awful. It's been god-awful since he's got there. I wonder what Hunter Henry, who is a better blocker than Dalton Schultz, I wonder what he can do with CJ Stroud. And also the 2 drop passes during the playoffs, Dalton Schultz is kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But here's what PFF had to say about Hunter Henry. Henry served as one of the few consistent and reliable targets for a New England Patriots passing attack that went through lengthy droughts since his arrival as a free agent in 2021. In a weaker free agent class at tight end, perhaps the high-floor veteran has a few suitors looking to add to a position where a known commodity is of value. Now, his projected contract for PFF, 2 years, $12.25 million total, $8.25 million guaranteed, and $6.13 million annually for Hunter Henry. That's the exact same deal I am offering to Dalton Schultz. And if he doesn't accept it, buddy, I wish you the very best. You were fantastic to me. That's exactly what I'm going to go get to Hunter Henry. You could get Hunter Henry potentially cheaper. With that being said, tight end is something that the Houston Texans need to keep an eye on, but not a huge need for them as they enter this year.